Okay, the next one says key image, quote, or data. Okay, so let's look here at this and see if there's a key quote, something that we might want to use if we were going to write an essay about this. So, okay, this first one's talking about the losses. Maybe we might use this first sentence. Let's see what else we've got here. Or we might use this one here. So I'm going to give you two ideas of what you could use as your quote. You could say, "It is believed that the enemy suffered severely in these operations, but our own loss has not been light." Okay, so we could put down that quote. Or if you like this quote better, we could put this one down. "I cannot even accomplish what I myself desire. How can I fulfill the expectations of others?" So I'm going to leave it up to you to decide which one to write down. I'm going to write down the first one. But if you like the other one better, you're free. Or if you think of another quote that I didn't notice, you're welcome to pick another one. Okay? So it is, and I'm going to put quotes around this, it is believed that the enemy suffered severely in these operations, comma, but our own loss has not been light. In other words, remember that means that they lost a lot of people, resources, had lots of injuries. Okay, how does it answer the essential question? Remember that the essential question is, why was Gettysburg a turning point? Okay, so notice that this is talking about losses and casualties. Remember our buckets we have down here: geography, morale, and losses. Okay, so this is talking about how the South lost lots of men. And it also talks, think about, Lee was ready to quit. Lee was ready to quit. So that's kind of talking about morale too. Okay, and this one's talking about losses. Okay, so that's really all we're going to do to be able to analyze these documents. So we've got document C out of the way. We've got some letters from Robert E. Lee, primary source, talking about the losses and casualties of the South. Mainly he's discussing what generals were hurt or killed or missing. And then he also talks about how the people of the South were upset that Lee was not successful in invading the North, and how he even tried to quit. Okay, so they lost lots of men, and Lee was ready to quit. Okay, now I want you to look at document D. Okay, document D. Okay, so I'm going to leave document A and document B for you to do in your groups. There's a map and there's a table, a chart of information. I think that that's something that you can work well in your groups to get that complete. Okay, so document D. So go back to your packet where it says document letter or number. We're going to put D. Okay, now the source. It says President Abraham Lincoln, the Gettysburg Address, November 19th, 1863. Okay, so the source, who is it from? What is it? It's the Gettysburg Address. I did not spell that right, sorry. Gettysburg Address. And the author is Lincoln. Okay, our date, it said, was November 19th, 1863. Okay, now is this a primary or is this a secondary source? Is this coming from somebody who was there, present in the history, or was this somebody who wasn't there, who didn't witness what was happening. And notice it's from President Lincoln. And he is the president of the North at this time, the Union. So therefore, it's going to be a primary source. Remember, primary, I'm there, I'm experiencing the history. Secondary, I'm writing about it afterwards, or I wasn't there, I'm just getting kind of secondhand information. It's almost like gossip. Main idea of the document, key quote, image, or data, and how does it answer the essential question. So while I'm reading this, pay attention, make sure that you're thinking about what's the main idea, what's something key or important that I might want to pop into an essay if I was going to write it, and then how does it help us to answer that question, why was Gettysburg the turning point? Okay, so we always note the note. When it gives us some extra information here, this is helping us to understand this document that they're presenting to us. It says on November 18th, 1863, President Abraham Lincoln traveled by train from Washington, D.C. to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Remember that Gettysburg wasn't actually very far from Washington, D.C. It was probably about maybe 200 miles or so from Washington, D.C. to help dedicate a National Soldiers Cemetery. Remember, dedicate means to honor. So we're setting up, we're making important this National Soldiers Cemetery because so many soldiers died at the Battle of Gettysburg. Many famous Americans had declined invitations to attend. So there were some people who said, hey, I don't want to come to this thing. I'm just chilling out. I'm ignoring it. I don't care. Lincoln accepted because he wanted to explain his feelings about the battle and the war. So he's trying to maybe take this opportunity. He wants to honor the dead, but he also wants people to understand, what are we fighting for? Why should we push on for these last couple of years of the war so that we can finish out this war and win? Okay? All right, so let's get started reading. 407 years ago. Remember, I said that score means 20. So that's the math problem. 4 times 20 plus 7 equals 87. And if we did the math, 1863 minus 87, we come up with 1776. So he's pointing us back to the Declaration of Independence. 407 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation conceived in liberty. Remember, I said conceived means created. Created in liberty and freedom, and dedicated, honoring, we're pushing for the proposition, the idea that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation, or any nation, so conceived, so created, so honored, so dedicated, can long endure. Can we keep going? Can the United States keep existing as this country that's found on liberty and all men are created equal? Or are we going to die? Is this it? We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field. So he's kind of explaining, why are we here? We're here in Gettysburg. We've taken a portion of that field to turn it into a cemetery. As a final resting place, a cemetery, for those who gave their lives that this nation might live. And so they gave their lives so that the U.S. could keep going. It is altogether fitting and proper that we do this. Okay, this is good. We need to do this. We need to honor these dead. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot honor, we cannot consecrate, make holy or almost religious. We cannot hallow, again, honor this ground. So that we can't do this. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here have consecrated it. In other words, with their effort, with their work at this Battle of Gettysburg, by doing what they were doing, they were the ones who honored the ground. They were the ones who made it holy by all their hard work and their selflessness, far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note, nor long remember what we